extremism may sublimation intolerance. नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम जसलान है, मैं ब्राजील से हूँ। आपका स्वागत है to my channel, and today I came to share a little bit of my thoughts about the fastest growing religion in the world, Islam. Before the video starts, I need to say one thing. If you like my content and want to see me produce high quality content about Sanatan Dharma and my life as a Hindu in Latin America, support me on Patreon. With your help, I intend to invest in better equipment like a professional camera and microphone to create better and more frequently content. So if you want to see me grow, become a member on Patreon and we will grow together, link in description. Since I created this channel, I have been receiving several comments from Muslims asking me if I read the Quran and that only God saves. I have received comments from people who say they are ex-Muslim and from people from other religions asking if I was Muslim. So today I decided to come and say everything I think about Islam. Years back, when I was exploring different religions, I explored Islam as well and read Quran to understand this. Thought later I prefer and love Sanatan Dharma for many reasons. The first time I heard about this religion was through the media. The extremism, the situation of women, but I didn't know exactly what was the truth was, what they believe and practice, because in the country where I live, there are not many Muslims. Then one time I heard someone saying that was the fastest growing religion in the world, and that surprised me. After all, if Islam is so controversial, how it's growing so fast? I did some research and I found a profile of a Muslim that talks about her faith, and she cleared a lot of my doubts, but it wasn't enough. I need to go deeper. So I got a free Quran because they distribute for free here in my country with other books. I read it and I must say that it changed my perspective on Islam. The first thing I found interesting was to discover that the Quran mentions Jesus more than Prophet Muhammad. Jesus is most mentioned person in Quran, 25 times if I'm not wrong, and Muhammad just 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. I used to think that would be some kind of gospel of the prophet, and I thought this was really cool because he didn't make the religion about himself, but about God and the people. He didn't say that he was the son of God or the only correct prophet, but rather he took what already exists from other prophets and add more revelations. And this was something that surprised me. Now let's talk about one of the most controversial aspects of Islam, the position of women. In the West, Muslim women are often talked about like they were submissive and oppressed because they have to follow rules that men don't have to follow. I believe that, of course, some women are oppressed because of their religion. Unfortunately, this is not just about Islam, but all over the world in our religion. However, I know that many women feel proud of their hijabs and their faith, but of course, are different in the rules for women and men. Some make sense, others don't, like not wearing perfume or high heels in public. I don't know if all Muslims believe this, but this is what I read. I also read that men and women should study, but women only if they have their husband or father permission. So basically, if a father or husband does not want his woman to study, they will be subjected. After all, Islam makes it clear that men and women are not equal and must be treated according to their position. It's clear that women must obey their father and husband. So this is something that worried me because, let's be honest, we know that not all men is going to forbidden their woman to study and grow in life, but we know that this is something that some others men will do definitely. So how many women in the world are not able to grow in their career because they believe they have to be in-house? Another thing I heard that I thought was really strange was about the music. Apparently, some instruments and types of music are not allowed. At first, I thought they were just referred to vulgar music, but no. Even if a song is not vulgar, it can still be banned because of the instrument used, style, and what is said. For me, this was super strange because music is something sacred for me. I understand that nowadays as vulgar and low quality music, but There is still a lot of good stuff, so for me, this restriction on music is something disappointing. And that's one of the things I love the most about Sanatan Dharma. Music is sacred and should be enjoyed, and not just enjoyed, but also used for worship. I didn't imagine that the Quran had the same history as the Bible, since in the Western myth they make it seem like Islam is very different from Christianity, but it's not. The second thing I found really interesting about Islam is Mary, the mother of Jesus. The Quran has a surah about her. And I honestly think it's more logical than the version of Mary that we have in Catholicism. I didn't expect the Muslim had an entire surah about Mary. There's more information about Mary in the Quran than in Catholicism, which is a religion that literally sees her as a saint. How can this be? The thing that caught my attention the most when I read the Quran, I realized that it's very clear in its message compared to the Bible. In my opinion, the Bible has more contradictions and less clarity in its message. For example, about alcohol. In Christianity, there are some schools of thoughts that say that you should not drink, and others that you can drink but not get drunk. But in Quran, there's no need to make interpretation because it's clear that not a drop of alcohol. It's that simple. So the Quran is simple to understand. You don't have to try very hard to interpret the word of God. I think the Quran is more like a rule book than a book on spirituality. Since it's just one book, it doesn't have much information about many things, unlike Sanatan Dharma, where you have reflection about many topics. And that leads me to talk about another thing that I found very interesting, was that Islam is easy to understand and practice. Islam has 5 pillars: the faith, charity, fasting, pilgrimage, prayer. These pillars are simple to practice. This religion only has one book. It has the Hadiths, but the holy book is the Quran. What simplifies the study? So those metaphors you can still study, understand, and practice easily the Islam. It is a religion with emphasis in lifestyle and not in the mystical and ritualistic world. At least it's what it looks like. So basically you believe in God, you fulfill the 5 pillars, and then you go to heaven or hell. And that's it. Of course, not just that, but this is the main thing, according to what I learned. But what caught my attention the most was the belief in 7 worlds or heavens, the jinns and the evil eye. I was surprised by the way that jinns and the evil is seen in Catholicism. They have free will, they travel between the worlds, and they have similar to humans because they can have a religion, follow moral rules or not. Anyway, I found these stories of beings who live in a different dimension from ours very interesting. If there were a movie about this, it would be something that I would watch. I also found the 7 worlds or dimension very curious because in Christianity, this is not mentioned. The idea of different dimensions, it's curious. I read some interpretations of the possible meanings of what the 7 heaven and earth could be, but it's confusing to me. I think that has lack of information about it. Another thing that surprised me in the Quran was the description of the appearance of the angel Gabriel. Honestly, I had to read more than once because I found the description of this angel very strange. And also the belief in jinns, who can take one other forms and possess animals and people. This is something strange to me because I didn't know the myth of jinns before Islam. It's different from the idea of the devil that I knew from Christianity. But some things don't make sense for me. For example, I heard a sheikh saying that they prefer to inhabitate in places where humans don't go. But why would they need to go and live in remote places if our eyes can't see them anyway? And also the belief in the evil eye surprised me because it's a pagan belief. I didn't think Muslims believed in that kind of thing. In short, my view of Islam today is that it's a simple religion that has clear rules to teach how to live life and deal with everyday situations and challenges, and does not delve much into what's beyond our eyes can see. And this is a problem for me because it's not so deep like Sanatan Dharma. There's not such many ritualistic because they are more practical. You just follow what they have been told to follow. Everything's in the hand of God, and that's it. Basically, I like how they are organized, simple to understand, but I don't like that the Hadith and Quran give space to treat women in a very different way because yes, we are different, but some things don't make sense for me, especially in the era that we are living now. And some restrictions, as I say, like the music, don't make any sense. I know some things can affect the mind in a specific way. I know that I have some songs that are vulgar, but some restrictions don't make any sense for me. It's not logical. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, you already know. Subscribe, give your like, share it for friends, or firmly